Vale. Vale, ok. Bueno, hola de nuevo, muchas gracias por estar aquí. Hoy tenemos el gran placer de tener a un súper invitado a esta Audition. Antes, para el que no sepa de qué va Audition, Audition pues es un proyecto que ya llevamos 11 años con él y la idea es que el artista invitado tiene que seleccionar 3 temas que para él han sido los más influyentes y nosotros los documentamos y ahora mientras se escuchan por la pantalla podréis ver toda la información que hemos recogido. Pero hoy es un día especial y como la temática de Atlas va sobre la influencia de la música electrónica, pues vamos a aprovechar que tenemos aquí a un icono de Detroit para que también nos pueda contar un poquito en primera persona cómo ha vivido él, cómo fueron esos inicios de esta gran ciudad y de este gran estilo y de toda la influencia que artistas como él tienen en el mundo. Ya lo veréis en la información, pero es uno de los grandes músicos de la historia, más de 600 temas, solo digo eso. Así que vamos a darle un fuerte aplauso a Carl Gray.
Hi, nice to have you here.
How you doing, man? Nice to meet you.
Bueno, para la ponencia tenemos a Daniel Kio y Josep Job, que harán un poco de ponentes. Y nada, empezamos.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Hopefully y'all are feeling good. Everybody feeling good today?
Yeah.
All right. So now I know we're on the same level, so that's good. All right. It's your show.
Exactly.
Ok, buenas noches a todos. Primero de todo, gracias por estar aquí. Good evening. So, yeah, let's start from the beginning. What was the city in Detroit like when electronic music started to emerge? Those first years, how do you remember those?
In the United States, we had a big crack epidemic. We had a big drug epidemic. But before that, it was heroin. It was Young Boys Incorporated. So not a very safe environment. Before Detroit techno, before I knew that we called it Detroit techno, Juan Atkins did Cybertron with Rick Davis, and I heard Cosmic Cars and Clear on the radio, but and that was through the Electrifying Mojo, legendary DJ, radio DJ in Detroit. But in Chicago, they had WBMX, which was a all-day mix show radio station. Mixes from Mike Hitman Wilson and Farley Jack Master Funk and all that. My sister's boyfriend was from just outside of Chicago in Hammond, Indiana, and I would get these mixtapes, and they were incredible. So the music, not only with what Mojo was playing, and then when Jeff Mills was on the radio as the Wizard, I had these mixtapes from Chicago, and we would play basketball, listening to mixtapes. There was all this great electronic dance music that was coming out of Italy at the time, the Italian disco stuff. So it wasn't only me that was hearing this stuff. It was, Kenny Larkin and Terrence Parker, Stacy Pullen, guys that are around my same age group that was hearing these mixes and hearing this music and were being inspired. So when Nude Photo was when I first heard Nude Photo from Derek May, I was already primed. I was primed to hear the music, but that set something else off. And it felt like the whole city was ready. And then when Strings of Life came out, really important because it crossed over not only with techno, but it crossed over to house. but Big Fun and Good Life from Inner City, it blew the roof off of Detroit, you know. I remember being on this boat. It's called the Boblo boat. It takes you to this amusement park, and they would have parties on the boat. And I remember Good Life being played, and everybody lost their minds. Amazing, amazing time.
Thank you. Well, I think you already answered several of the following questions.
All right, let's go.
Well, next one is what musical genres influenced you at the beginning? Like, tell us a bit more about that music you were listening to, apart from like those big tracks from already Detroit techno artists, let's say.
Well, I mean, it has to go back further because, like, how many DJs are out there? You got any DJs out there? Okay, we got some DJs. Oh yeah, okay. So what DJs usually do, and we don't realize it when we first experience it, is that we not only look at the record covers, but we look at the labels. It's the colors on the label as it spins. It's all these little key elements. And I used to really pay attention to the labels. That's how I identified the music. So Papa was a Rolling Stone from the Temptations. When I used to watch that purple Gordy label spin, and it added this impact to what the music was. When I first heard Peter Frampton Alive, you know, Do You Feel Like We Do? Big important record. It was an important record in Detroit because the Electrifying Mojo made it a signature track. And you can hear Moody Man play Do You Feel Like We Do as like a tribute to that mood that we had in Detroit at the time. So the influence of the music, not only for me, but the influence of the music for Detroit was hardcore electronic, like Kraftwerk, like Depeche Mode in some cases. Mark Kinchin, MK, is a big Depeche Mode fan, so you know it does have a very important impact. But you know, Stevie Wonder, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix. There was all this music that comes into being. Thank you. Yep. No, just there is fine. Being influential to me, but also through listening to the radio, through Electrifying Mojo. It was really important to hear this music because what most people who aren't DJs don't understand is that when you're DJing, you're not playing songs, you're playing a mood. You're setting a tone, you know? So if you look at a white piece of canvas, or say that white wall right there, you look at that white wall and the painter is gonna put a base on that wall in order to set the tone of what's going to happen. So it's not about painting somebody's face. It's not about painting some trees or whatever. It's what's behind the concept of where you're going, what you're gonna put on there. And all that music was the base for us to hear Numbers by Kraftwerk, or, you know, even though Kraftwerk was a huge influence, it was Planet Rock that was the biggest influence. And it wasn't only an influence on Detroit and Detroit techno, it was a huge influence on rap and hip hop. It was a huge influence on Egyptian Lover and, you know, the whole LA electro scene. It was a huge influence on anything that was urban music that was coming out in 1982, 1983, and onward. Because still, you know, my brother is 9 years older than me, and he's the one who had a huge influence on me musically. But he said later on, after I was making music and everything, traveling the world, he listened to this. I think it was Jim Jones' "We Fly High," and he's like, "That's techno." I'm like, no, that ain't techno. Jim Jones, get out of here. That ain't techno. And then I listened to it, and it's Planet Rock slowed down. That's all it is Planet Rock slowed down. And that's really a template for so much music that we have now. It's just like you have country western using tuned 808. You know, you slow down Planet Rock and it's a tuned 808.
Exactly. And probably, like you said, it was just the right time and the right situation of the city, and also you all guys just playing around and just looking for something to find something to escape of the situation or something like that. And it was the music who, in some ways, saved you.
Well, my mama saved me. So, you know, all you boys out here, I don't know how much of you are mama's boys, but the mama is the queen. Yeah. But, you know, my mother, she came from the farm. She lived down in the South, but she paid attention. And I was the youngest, or I am the youngest, so she grabbed me and made sure that I didn't get into any shenanigans and, you know, end up in jail or die. And I was talking about it the other day. There's a movie. It might be called White Boy Rick. Might be the name of the movie, and it's about a kid who got caught up in the drug trade in Detroit, and he got set up by the mayor and by the police, and they put him in jail. And they put him in jail where I think he was just released within 5 years, 5 years ago. And what I didn't realize, because I knew the name White Boy Rick growing up, I knew it, of course. I didn't realize he's the same age as me. So what my mother did is she protected me to make sure that I didn't get involved in what a lot of kids were getting involved with at the time. I could have just been getting out of jail now. Instead, I'm 30 years on the road. So thanks, Mom. Yeah.
All right. Now that you're talking about the help from your family regarding your career, do you remember a key moment when you thought, or you told your mom, "Hey, I know it. This is what I want to do. I want to make music. I want to make."
Yeah, definitely. And we all have that moment where, whether it's mom or dad, you got to convince them. And you know, with the times, so like with his Nike Dunks, I think those are Dunks, or those early Air Force Ones. I'm not sure what they are, but with those came out in the 80s, right? The time that I grew up, my brother and my sister, people that are their age, like Tony Hawk, you know? I mean, in 1978, we drove to California, and I had this orange skateboard that I used to ride around, and these blue suede Pumas, right? And I was having fun. I didn't realize that 15 years later, some motherfucker would be doing flips and stuff, making millions of dollars doing it. You know? I was 9, 10 years old, you know? So you don't realize that somebody can take something as silly as riding a skateboard around and turn it into a multi-million-dollar empire. The same with BMX, the same with race car driving, the same with video games. I mean, when we were playing Atari and ColecoVision and Nintendo and all that, you never thought that you could get paid playing video games. That was insane. I got kicked out of school playing video games. I wouldn't go to school because I was playing video games. So you never expect that. So imagine trying to convince your parent that you're going to make money DJing.
At that time.
They still don't get it. You know? I mean, people my age that are parents still don't get it. They don't get it because, like I said, they think you're supposed to play songs. They don't understand that you're making a mood. They don't understand that you're setting a tone. So, but my mom, she did do some things that were really interesting. So she knew that I loved roller skating. And she'd negotiate with me about stuff. My mom would lay down the law, but also she understood that you had to negotiate with your kids. You couldn't just say, do this, I'm your mama, I said do this. So when I wasn't doing well in school, but I liked roller skating, she said, I'll buy you new skates if you come and give me an A in this subject or something. So she always had that thing that was, and you're a kid, you don't think it's fair. You're just still like, I just want the skates, give me the skates. And especially coming up in the 80s was a time when it's like me, it's all about me, you know? I want this, I want it now. How we can get stuff now, for real, was how we thought it should have been. And it became that. So when it was time for me to go to college, when I barely graduated out of high school, she said, okay, look, I know you're not going to university. I got this money stashed away. What do you want to do? I want to buy a synthesizer. So I bought my first synthesizer because she had a little extra money stashed away, and that started my career.
That was my next question, sorry.
But that started my career. It was her just scraping some cash together, and that's it. So I mean, I could have taken that money and bought some clothes with it, but you know, what was that going to do? So if I was interested in being a clothing designer, then I would have went and bought a sewing machine, and that would have started my career, and it would have still been thanks to Mom. So she and my dad have a big impact on me, but she's the one that didn't stand in my way for a lot of things. And then the other thing was my first time going to the UK in 1989. Inner City was doing a two-date performance at Town and Country Club, and they needed an opener, so they asked Derek to do Rhythm is Rhythm. So I was working with Derek May at the time, and he, of course, brought me along. I told my parents. My mom said, look, you finished school, you finished college, I will pay for you to go to England. And I said, no, it's this time that I have to go. It really felt like it was that time that I had to go, you know? And I kind of had to flex, like, I'm a man. I gotta go, I'm a man. So she's like, okay, let me see the ticket. I showed her the ticket. It was a one-way ticket. She said, no, you go back and tell them that you want a round-trip ticket, and then you can go. And I mean, I was a grown man at the time. I was 20 years old still, but Mom was right. She told me to go back and get that round-trip ticket because she understood that if I got over there and didn't have a ticket back, I would have to do something compromising in order to get back. You know, what compromising that could have been, I could have been, you know, running drugs. I could have been robbing a bank. You know, it could have been anything to try to go home. So she really had the foresight to make sure that I could do what I went over there to do and do it correctly and not be compromised. So I have to thank her for that. She's an amazing woman. But mothers, and this is a story that Derek May should tell, but I love this story. It's really interesting. So techno wouldn't be anything that you know if it wasn't for Derek May's mom. Okay?
So this is a mom's story.
And the reason why I have to give his mom a lot of credit is because when Juan and Rick started doing Cybertron, Derek was hanging out with Juan and stuff. And he really believed in those guys. This is before he made any music. And he really believed in what the music was. So he got a demo tape from them. And he found out where the Electrifying Mojo, the DJ from Detroit, the radio DJ, legendary DJ from Detroit, where the Electrifying Mojo went after the show. So he would go to this place called Burt's, and he would have, you know, a sandwich or whatever. So Derek found out about it, and he went every night sitting there waiting for the Electrifying Mojo to come so he can give him this music. And then that's how Cybertron got on the radio, and then that's how Detroit techno started. But Derek May was 15 years old.
Wow.
And my mother, there's no way in hell that I would have been out of the house at 15. So whatever the situation was, he every night snuck out of the house in order to get that tape to Electrifying Mojo. And you know, when he told me about this, Mojo was on the phone. We're all I was out of my mind, excited to talk to the Electrifying Mojo. And when they were talking about this story, I'm like, Derek, you got to go back and kiss your mama. You got to tell her, thank you so much. Yeah. Juan needs to thank her. I thank her, you know, because if his mom was a hard ass, there's no way in hell that it would happen, and it would never be that. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Derek May's mom. So let's give a hand to Derek May's mama.
Yeah, come on.
But I appreciate that. Thank you guys.
So we're gonna carry on, and like you say, you know, guys, we got 3 tracks from Calcray. So we're gonna go with the first one, Paperclip, Throw.
Okay.
If you want, just gonna watch the video first, and then we chat about it.
Okay.
It's okay. Here we go, guys.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. All right. Back when James Brown used to do things, when he'd say, "All right, bam, we're gonna cut it right here," and some person didn't stop, he'd go, 25. That meant that he got charged $25 for not stopping.
So
All right.
There you go.
Go ahead.
So Paperclip is one of your acas, and as a producer, tell us about all your something about your career as a producer that you really like, or what's what you like about being a producer.
Well, I mean, since we're coming out of Thoreau, it was. I made that track watching the Super Bowl. I don't really watch football, but I was bored out of my mind watching football, so that's how the track came about. And I didn't know what I had, and that's usually what happens when you have a sleeper hit, I guess you want to call it, or something. And I had cut the track to a test lacquer. And at the time, I was doing a lot of work with Ministry of Sound in London. James at Ministry of Sound was my boy, and we did this party at the small club, and I put that track on. I put on Thoreau, and I had never had a reaction that was like I just unloaded the biggest truck of explosives. It just, the whole floor exploded. Everybody just, I had never had that reaction on a track that I had done. And it was amazing. It was really amazing experience. So as a producer, you know, you when you get that lightning in a bottle, you always want to recreate it. But because I'm a bit of a rebel, maybe a musical anarchist in some kind of way, I don't know. But I just always wanted to make something that made sense and was important. So that's why you never hear something that's like me trying to do Throw again, you know. I did For My Peeps, I did Floor, I did The Climax, I did all these tracks that were in the vein of what Paperclip People is, but I never tried to do Throw again because that's just not in my, it's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in making something and then trying to push it to the next level.
Talking about technology or how you were producing this track and some others, how was it for you back in the days with not so many resources, like to learn your synthesizers, your drum machines, all that? Who helped you with that as well?
Who had me learn it?
Yeah, or how was your experience when you got your first synthesizer?
Synthesizer, yeah. So, I mean, the first things first is why the synthesizer was important, why the drum machine was important. And the music from Germany, the music from the UK, Planet Rock, all this stuff was a big influence. But also George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic, you know, all the heavy bass line stuff, Zap, More Bounce to the Ounce, Rick James, you know, all these guys that were using synthesizers, that was a big deal to me. So that sound I wanted, I found like a toy oscillator, who, which the only other person that has one that I know of is Richie Houghton's dad. And it's called the Sound Gizmo, I think. And it made like these siren sounds and everything that you can do with an oscillator, but it was a toy. And when I got that toy, it must have done something to make me want a synthesizer. So when I was able to touch a synthesizer for the first time, which was a Prophet 4-track, 6-track, Prophet 6-track, I think is what it was called. I was hooked. I had to have a synthesizer. So I did go to college for a few semesters, and they had an electronic music program. The guy who was teaching electronic synthesis, et cetera, he was like an army musician, and he taught us how to use Minimoog. And the concept of using Minimoog was to program it so that you could use it in orchestra. So to replace a horn or to replace a string or something. So the logic wasn't to make weird sounds. The logic was to imitate real sounds. So when I would program drums, he would say things like, "A drummer could never play this." And that's an important thing to say, because now that we have every plugin in the world, we have every resource that we can have, we don't have restrictions. And that mentorship from this teacher was important for me to restrain myself, for me to listen to it, because I am a drummer, I'm a guitar player, I'm these things. And what you get with musicians usually, especially when Pro Tools came around, as a guitarist, you screw up something, you can replace it easily. So sometimes you hear about sessions where the guitar player's like, every note, they're overdubbing every note in Pro Tools and they're editing it in because they want the perfect solo. So that's using your instrument that has, and your ability that has restrictions, but you're throwing restriction out the door. And this is a big problem that we have now with plugins and with technology, is that we don't have the restriction just to say, learn one compressor, learn one synthesizer, learn one thing. Like one of my friends, he owns Motor City Wine. His parents played in the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, and his dad, his stepdad, who played trumpet, we were talking about Miles Davis, and he said, "Oh, one day I would love to play Miles Davis stuff." And it blew my mind that he would say something like this, because it's like, come on, man, you got a trumpet. You know how to play it. Why don't you play Miles Davis stuff? And he said, no, because my life right now is to play the music that they give me. And that really blew my mind. That was like, wow. And then playing with orchestra guys, with orchestra players, there's a reason why you have first chair, second chair, third chair. It's not only your ability of how you are as a musician, it's your ability to play the music without fault. And we have so much with technology that doesn't give us the opportunity to concentrate on a speciality. Our speciality is electronic music. So the speciality that we think is that we have to know how to use a Neve, we have to know how to use an SSL, we have to know how to use Pioneer V10. We have to know how to use a rotary mixer. We have to know how to use a synthesizer. We have to know how to use 10 synthesizers. We have to know how to use 20 drum machines. We have to know how to use every plug-in that comes. No, you don't. Specialize in one thing and perfect it, and then go on to the next thing. And it makes things much better for me to strip back what I do to these restrictions. This is important. This is important that I learned when I first started programming, and then now I have to go back to that.
I think this is great advice
Yeah,
for everyone.
so. This is a master class from the master.
I thought this was a master class. This isn't a master class?
It turned into one, yeah. All right. So in terms of parties in Detroit back in the days, in the 90s and so, where did you go to get some inspiration to maybe test your productions, to share some time with the other producers?
So I met Jeff Mills when I was about 14 or 15, okay? And my cousin, I used to help him with his light rigs. He was doing lights for Jeff Mills for Direct Drive, for these DJ corps that were going around Detroit. And when I first saw Jeff DJ, it was at a club called Cheeks. Again, I'm 14, 15. I shouldn't have been in there, but I was in there. So when I started going to clubs on my own, which was a club called The Shelter, and there was a DJ, Reggie, there during the first, up until 12 o'clock, he had to play things like Ballroom Blitz and Bela Lugosi's Dead and all these things. And then at 12, he started playing Can You Feel It from Mr. Fingers. He was playing Adonis, No Way Back. He was playing all this stuff, Strings of Life, No UFOs, Bounce Your Body to the Box. He's playing all this music, and it was quite fascinating. But by the time I could really test my music in the clubs was when the Music Institute started. And I had first met Derek May through a friend, because Derek had a radio show. This friend was able to introduce me. Also, I met Kevin Saunderson before I met Derek. And Kevin Saunderson I met through DJ Stingray. And Stingray is a prophet, because back in the day, Stingray said the 808 is the future. And this is after they discontinued making the 808, and he was right, because every aspect of music that we hear now has 808 in it somehow, mainly with the kick drum. So when Derek was playing at Music Institute, and we linked up and started working together and composing music in his loft, this was when it gave me the opportunity to be able to hear my music on a big sound system. So before I went to the UK, around the time that I made Elements, I think, the first track that we worked on together was Neurotic Behavior, where it has 808 and Swing 909s on it, in comparison to the original version that I did that was just Prophet 600. So it's really a revelation to hear your music loud, but on 15-inch woofers. You know, when you hear it in the car, you can listen to it loud, but the woofers are 5 inches, 6 inches or something, you know. You listen to it in your mama's house and the woofer's 6 to 8 inches, but hearing it with, you know, being played next to some of your favorite music is an incredible experience. And I mean, I've never considered myself the best DJ. I wish I could be like Rick James, be like, yeah, I'm the baddest motherfucker around, you know. I'm the baddest DJ, you can't fuck with me, blah, blah, blah. I wish I could be that way, but I'm not. I try to be honest with myself. So, but, you know, starting out DJing very badly, but still being able to hear my music on sound systems was incredible. That made up for any mistakes or shortcomings that I had as a DJ.
Thank you. So we were feeling like.
Do you think that we're going to the next video?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna see 69, other of the Akas of Calcray, and the track called Desire.
you didn't know, that was Desire. It's a soundtrack for all your desires, wherever they might be. For the women, it's Nice Desires. And for all y'all perverts out there, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Amazing.
You said
This is really a masterpiece.
This is included in the soundtrack of your film, no? Desire?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So,
and we had a doubt.
We had an important
preparing
question.
The interview. We weren't sure which track is first released, the Paperclip one or this one?
ooh,
69?
Same from the...
well, Desire was made first, but Paperclip People, Throw might have came out before Desire did, maybe. I'm not quite sure. It might have been. There's a lot of music that came out right at the same time. So, and when I say the same time, I mean within a year period. So, like with Desire, like I was listening to the solo, and I'm transported because I made this in my parents' basement. Very limited gear, but you know, with where we're at today, with social media and everybody's got an opinion. Jesus Christ, you can't do nothing with everybody having an opinion. You know, some guy in buttfuck Timbuktu or something is telling you that you played a wrong note there, or that you did this or whatever, but before social media, which was really great, is that if someone had an opinion on what you did, they told you to your face, you know? And I have a lot of friends that are musicians, and I remember I was doing something, it wasn't Desire, but I was doing something with piano and vocals and whatever. And this guy that I grew up with, he said, yeah, you need to get a different piano player, you know? And when he said it, it made me hear what I was playing different. You know, he didn't say you should play it different, you should do it this way, that way. What I heard was I was playing the piano like a chicken pecking at, you know, it was like ding, 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 ding kind of thing. And when he said it, it's like, oh, you know, I get it, I got it. You know, he was a better keyboard player than me, but he wasn't a virtuoso. But still, I got it. And I had to respect what he had to say, even though he pissed me off. I still had to respect what he had to say because I know what his ability is. And he was a better keyboard player than me. So I had to take it. I had to take note. It wasn't, again, like Bill Burr, he said it the other day, you know, somebody in his underwear halfway across the world telling you what you're doing wrong. You know, it's like, I don't know you. Why should that have anything to do with it? So I'm listening to how I played the solo, and you know what I did was that my whole spirit was going into it, and that's what you got when you hear that, and that's what I get when I hear it again. So, like those early Wu-Tang records, for instance, or those Public Enemy records, or even the techno records, you can hear this blissful ignorance that comes from youth. You could hear it in the music. So next time you listen to like Brooklyn Zoo or something, you know, you'll hear just this raw, young energy that makes the music even more important. And when I hear these tracks that I did when I was 23, 24, 25 years old, I hear the same thing. I hear that youth that comes out into it, that immaturity that makes it special, you know? Because if I did it now, if I did the same song now, it would never get finished because I have too many experiences that say, I'm not doing that right, I'm not doing this right, I could do this better, I could do whatever. Where back then it was, I did it, it's done, let's go on to the next thing, you just keep rolling.
And how do you manage to keep going and to keep producing music and remixes and everything after all this experience that you got?
Yeah, so to keep creative, you have to release yourself. You have to just want to get it all out. You have to, you know, it's like, this is going to be a disgusting comparison, but you have a cold. Your nose is stuffed. You kind of snort it back, right? You don't swallow it, you spit it out. Yeah. The police might arrest you for spitting on the street, but you still got to get it out of your body because that's how your body stays healthy. If you snort it and keep it in your body, then you get sicker and you keep getting sicker and sicker. You got to get it out. You got to blow your nose. You got to spit it out. You got to do whatever you take. And creativity is like that, where you got to just get it out. If you sit with it inside of yourself, it keeps just deteriorating. And then you'll never do anything. So you just got to get it out. You just got to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And that was really the method to my madness, was to keep going, just to keep going. And it produced a lot of great remixes, you know. And those remixes came from me also viewing remixing not as me making something for you, it was me collaborating with whoever asked me to remix. So in my mind, it became mine and your track, not just me remixing your track. And that's how the people saw it too. The people saw the remixes as Carl Craig tracks. They didn't see them as Carl Craig remixes or whatever. So it's almost, it's like a collaboration, but it's like a cover version in some way. But I just took it apart. And I saw something really interesting. There was this documentary on the fashion designer Tom Ford, and yeah, Dominos, I see that. It was Tom Ford. It was a documentary on Tom Ford, and I don't know if he did it for show or if he did it because this is the way it is, but he had a garment, and the model's standing there with the garment on. Say it's this coat, and he goes up to the person and just starts ripping the sleeves off and starts ripping parts off of this garment because he had a vision that either said it wasn't right or that it can go to the next level, whatever. When I saw that, it's like, that's like remixing. That's the same thing, is that you give me these stems. So say I have 16 stems, and I only want to use 4. So I'm ripping the sleeves off the song and throwing them away, and I'm just using those 4 stems. And then from those 4 stems, I might cut 2 of them to oblivion, throw them in the air, put them back together again, and then the other 2 might still stay the same. And then everything else I add, and then it becomes a new garment, a new product.
Excellent. Because one of your skills, just to make it so easy, but at the same way, it sounds so different to the original.
Yeah, yeah. The guy who I credit the most to inventing or making what we understand as remixing as is known today is Kevin Saunderson. So when Larry Levan and Tom Moulton and the guys who really created the early days of remixing, what they did was they had the master, they turned up the congas, turned up the drums, turned up the bass, and then made these edits. And then it made, a new version of Love Is the Message or something, or a new version of Instant Funk or any of these things that those guys had made. But when Kevin Saunderson did We Papa Girl Rappers, he just took everything off and just kept their vocals and put all new music. So that was, for me, the real invention of what we do as a remix. So I think even with Aphex Twin, when he got into the remix thing, he just had spare tracks and put whatever elements from the track that he was remixing and then just put it on top of whatever the spare track was and gave it to him. And then it became not only a remix, but it became like a piece of pop art, like Campbell soup can or something, But I think every remixer that is that's worthy. So Todd Terry is a great remixer. Louis Vega is a great remixer. And same thing with Kenny Dope. But Kevin was the guy that really took the sleeves off, took the collar off. He took the lining out. He did everything. He just left the sketch of the idea of what it was, and then he created something that was incredible.
Words of wisdom, especially for the producers around. The next question is, what was it like bringing your music to Europe, bringing the sound of Detroit to Europe, your first contact with, Berlin maybe, or London?
So when Derek May used to play at Music Institute, he had 2 turntables, a 909, and a reel-to-reel tape deck. I learned how to edit and re-edit from watching Derek do his mix shows. So when I started DJing, especially in Europe, I knew I had to do something else. So I would bring my reel-to-reel with my tapes, and I'd play all this unreleased music. And people were hungry for it, and it was really great. It's nothing new. I mean, Frankie Knuckles is using tape. I think outside of Derek, the first DJ that I saw using tape was Mike Dunn in Chicago. So it's nothing new, but I was the guy that, brought a Fostex 20 with tapes, and that's how people first heard Rushed from 6ix9ine. That's how people first heard. Good Girls, the Good Girls edit. A lot of crazy stuff that I was doing. The Throbbing Gristle edit. All that stuff I was bringing over on tape, and I wasn't just walking in with vinyl. I was walking in with ammunition. And the people were ready when I was going to Holland to DJ in Amsterdam with DJ Dimitri, or to Belgium at Fuse Club. These were the places that were with Dimitri. It was The It Club, I used to play with him and Marcelo, and also Roxy in Amsterdam. Definitely Fuse Club in Brussels, playing in Antwerp, playing in Ghent, playing in all these places. And, you know, that made it where it was understood what I was doing was special. It was outside of me just trying to play vinyl, which the reason why I don't play vinyl now is because I can't re-edit it and play it. I can't edit it on the plane and then play it. So I need a format where I can edit and then play, and that's from me bringing tape.
All right.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting. And also we're gonna watch and listen an example of your remixes, like the one that you tell us to bring here. There is a remix from Carl Craig to Caribou, from the album Our Love, and it's Your Love Will Set You Free.
All right.
So play on, please.
They cut my mic off. No, we got the mic back in. That's right. All right. Oh, yeah. You gotta set yourself free. Are you free? 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 I know y'all free over there. I see they free. Oh yeah. You ready to set you free? 1, 2, 3, set yourself free. That's right. Detroit loves in the house. Valencia love is in the house. Yeah. I feel the love. Love is the drug that will set you free. Yeah. You having a good time, y'all? I'm having a great time. What a way to celebrate 2025. Beautiful. All my beautiful people here. This is great. Give the music a round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause.
I think we are in the right mood right now.
Yeah.
We're in the right mood. So we're just about to finish, but we want to ask you a couple of questions more.
Just a couple more.
It's going to be just for us.
All right.
Why this remix, if you have made so many, why do you choose to bring this track?
So Caribou, and with this mix just shows the range, you know, that just because it's a mathematician who plays drums that was doing alternative music and then came into the electronic world, that's the excitement of doing music. That's the excitement of not having any restrictions with music. Also, this might be one of the first remixes that I did that might be mostly plugins. So everything that sounds analog is actually not. No. And it's about the way you use what you have instead of it just being that you're sitting and saying, yeah, you know, if it's not a mini moog, it's not a bass line, you know. So it's important not to restrict yourself into just saying, I only do techno, or I only do rap, or I only do alternative. And I loved what was being done with Caribou Music before he went electronic, and I still love what he does now that he has big pop songs. You know, so that's the fun of music. You can't. I mean, Prince made a lot of big pop songs, but that doesn't mean that those songs didn't influence what Moody Man does, which they severely influence what Moody Man does. You know, and we're so used to wanting to put things in a box, typecast, And it shouldn't be that way. It should just be that we love music, and if it's good, it's good. If it sucks, it sucks, you know? Some people like sucky music.
All right, let's go for the last one. Any more advice you want to share with us for the future producers looking for inspiration, or?
I mean, for the future of the music.
As I've been saying over the many decades, that I don't know what the future of music is. I don't even want to try to know what the future of music is. I mentioned Bug in the Bass Bin, for instance. When I did Bug in the Bass Bin, it just became what it was, and I really wasn't expecting anything. So the first DJ that I knew of that played it was Dimitri from Amsterdam, and he would play it at +8. And then Kojo Eshin, the writer, he was doing a piece on me in Wire magazine, and he says, you have to hear this music. This has been influenced by Bug in the Bass Bin. And he played Goldie Timeless. And I think I had already known that Fabio was playing at raves Bug in the Bass Bin at 45, but you know, the only other person that said anything to me that they even liked Bug in the Bass Bin was Moody Man. Everybody else seemed to hated it. So, you know, beautiful surprises. Always be open for beautiful surprises, because if you don't make the music, or if you don't finish it, or you don't release it, then it doesn't give the opportunity for somebody that you wouldn't expect to embrace it. So if you, as a musician or a producer, bathe in insecurity, then you don't give yourself the possibility of making something that can be really fascinating.
Excellent.
Nice.
So, thanks very much, Joel.
Do we have
Thanks,
time
guys.
for
Appreciate
other
it.
preguntas, o?
Sí.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Sí, como.
I just one minute more. There's anyone that wants?
I think we have time for
to make a question to Carl.
a quick question before we
Are
finish.
you all happy and you just want him to DJ later on? A question? There you go.
I can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah. Ven.
Vente un poco para acá. Está bien. Yeah.
There you go. Espera.
All right. But,
How's the production working?
thank you.
Yeah, where you been at with that mic, man?
So I wanted to ask because there's have been a lot of talk about the early party scene in Europe.
Yeah.
But there was a community of people in Detroit that also did parties and like went together and played your music and the other producers.
Yeah. Detroit, what I think is a hard concept for people, especially in Europe, to get, because I know people in New York don't get it, is that the clubs close at 2 o'clock in the morning in Detroit. And that doesn't give you a lot of time. That gives you 5 hours to have a party, play music, and end. You know, having a party until 6 in the morning is New York, Miami, Chicago. Not many other places in the U.S. do that. So when we came to Europe, and you come to Italy and play until 6, you can come to Valencia and play until 6, you can come to Barcelona and play until 6, or Madrid, or Amsterdam, Paris. I was in Oslo yesterday. Oslo was 3 though yesterday. But anyway, that was a new idea and a new concept, and I think that helped to feed what we could do musically more. So those, again, shout out to Derek May's mom for for letting the 15-year-old Derek May sit around and wait for the Electrifying Mojo, because we wouldn't have these opportunities if the music didn't get out. We had I mentioned the shelter earlier, which was the alternative club in Detroit. The Music Institute, which was the real deal, like the Warehouse or like Larry's club. Can't remember what it's called right now in New York, but that it was still a select few people that really knew about it. Even when it got popular, it really was less than 1,000 people in the club, so it was never anything really huge. I was talking about this yesterday with my friends in Norway, and Amsterdam embraced the music so much that they came up with their own style called gabber. And it's like very fast. Speedy J, I think, was doing gabber at one time or whatever. Really fast, super fast. And I think is based a lot on DJ Rush, on DJ Rush's style. But we used to play, Headbanger. We used to play all these parties that they had that were gabber parties, but they had a techno room. So, and I thought we were doing something because we're playing in front of 10,000 people. We're like, yeah, and then you walk out, and then in the gabber room, there's 30,000 people. But you never see that in Detroit. The possibility of that even happening now would have to be a basketball game or a football game or something. It's not going to be a club. And I love that we never got there, but I could see that the growth of the music in America really needs it. It really needs for people to embrace electronic music more than they have. In Europe, there was never a disco sucks movement. We had the disco sucks thing that happened in 1978 or 79, I think it was, where they blew up all these pieces of vinyl on Wrigley Field, I believe it was. And a little tidbit was that it was during a double-header game between Chicago and Detroit, which are the two places that impacted electronic music the most from the United States. And they blow up all these freaking records, But because Europe never had that, you didn't dismiss ABBA. You didn't dismiss Donna Summer. So the possibility of people loving the music, and it became ingrained in you a lot more than people saying, we don't want to hear that shit. Give me good old rock and roll. Give me guitar music. Give me country. Give me all that. So the scene had to be rebuilt, and to even get to the point of what was being done in these headbanger raves in Holland, or raves that were happening in 1989, 90 in the UK. In the early days, where they were flying in the DJs on helicopters into the middle, the middle of these these plots of land. I mean, we still got work to do in the U.S.
Well, at least we can. We are lucky because you are here and we can enjoy your music. So thanks very much.
That was it.
Muchas gracias a
Thank
todos.
you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks a lot.
Thank you, Carl Craig. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for supporting this kind
I
of
feel
event.
so special today.
Gracias
Thank you.
a todos.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Carl.
Appreciate it.